We're back. Here I am, Fly Navarro. I'm here with my very good friend, Matt Fueyo. Matt, how are you? Introduce yourself. Tell people what you do, what you're about, and who's coming after you.
Okay. Well, first of all, my name is Matt, and I want to thank you, Fly, for having me on your show today. It's always an honor to be a part of your podcast. It's my second or third time with you now,
Yeah.
so it's pretty awesome. But I own a company called Real Tight Fishing Charters. I own another company called Siesta Key Snorkel. I own another company called Blacked Out Bait Company, where we provide bait to all the bait shops in town here on the west coast of Florida. So kind of a cool side gig that I've been doing there, But what we've been having and our challenges have been dealing with the county. Sarasota County has been coming after the charter boat captains now for the last 2 or 3 years. We've been faced with scrutiny from parking and infrastructure to too many boats are at the park. Just some lame attacks on us that really don't hold any water in our court. And unfortunately, they all have their hand out. A lot of our, local government does nowadays. And so that's what we're dealing with. So right now we've got the parks and rec department breathing down our necks. We've got the county commissioners that we're fighting with as well. So it's been a challenge. It's been a busy last few couple months in the last few years since the hurricane. We had to overcome that. Sarasota was pretty much obliterated by that hurricane. 2 of them, to be honest. And so we're still fighting back with all those types of things as well.
So you want me to give you some good news?
Tell me.
Yeah. It's not just local politicians that put their hands out. They all do.
Yeah.
No, don't feel like they're just picking on you, dude.
Right. No, that's the truth. It's and we're hearing it from the construction guys. I'm hearing it from, as I brought this to everyone's attention through the Facebook community and through the news now as well. I'm getting a lot of feedback from a lot of other businesses and people that are like, hey man, the county's messing with us too. And Sarasota is one of those growing towns, one of those growing communities that is encouraging people to move down. And with that being said, they're overstepping, the local government's overstepping their reach. It's almost become a little bit tyrannical in that regard. And for me, as being a don't tread on me guy, even though I served and I was in the Army, like I still believe in power to the people and that your community voices are a little bit louder than the 5 that are making the votes for everyone.
So I wanted, and that's the reason I reached out to you, because I was watching you post online. You've been going to all the meetings whenever they have the votes. I'm watching it, and I reached out to you this morning. I'm like, hey, you want to jump on and talk about this so you can break it down. But what I'd like to do is I want to break this. Let's take a couple steps really far back. And then that way we can build up on exactly what you have going on here. So I'd like to start with going far enough back on all this. Talk about the time you served. I'm flying out on Sunday because I sit on a board of directors. Actually, since the last time we talked on the podcast. I sit on the board of directors. No, because I see you over in the Bahamas all the time.
I know.
Yeah. And usually we don't get a chance to talk because I'm working and you're hanging out, man. You're having a good time, having a little Kong salad and drinking a beer, and I'm running around making sure everybody's happy. But
I know I tried to bug you, but you're always busy.
No. Listen, I love it. I love hosting events. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's like throwing a party, man. A bunch of fishermen, you invite them over to your house. What are you gonna do to keep them entertained? Fuck it, go fishing.
Yeah. Go fishing. Let's go.
Go fishing.
I love it. I'm envious of what you do. And actually, when we get done with this conversation, I want to talk to you offline about possibly, joining and being a part of that because for me as a small business.
We got some cool shit that you and I need to talk about offline. We're not ready to. I'm not ready to announce it on the podcast yet, but it might be as
Yeah.
soon as next week. I'd love to talk to you about some of the stuff I got going on, but I get a chance to see you and we don't get a chance to talk. But since we've caught up on the podcast last, I joined a board of directors for a nonprofit out of Tacoma, Washington. And what we do
Okay.
is we get active and retired military members out fishing and hunting. Um,
Cool.
yeah, so the tournament is in the biggest event of the year, the biggest fundraisers, a tuna tournament in Westport, Washington for albacore. Well, we just added
Okay.
a salmon category, and every year we do all these Zoom calls to do it. And I'm like, I'm flying out there. We're going to start in February and we're going to knock everything out. I'm going to sequester you guys for 2 days and we're going to
Okay.
get everything knocked out, agree on artwork, agree on shirts, agree on everything and hang out because usually during the
Yeah.
tournament I don't get a chance to hang out with them. So it's a big deal for me and we get
Cool.
active military members out there. We get retired military members. Last year, I had three young kids. They were 19 years old. They were stationed at Joint Base Lewis McChord. They're all wide-eyed. Is that where you were?
Yeah, that's where I was actually. Yeah, so
Yes.
they sent the Florida boy all the way over there to the rainiest state in America. You know, I always joke and say I hope Lewis and Clark were mauled by bears because
Mm.
you know that part of the country is just yeah. You know, for me, I'm used to 300 days of Siesta Key sunshine. And you know, oh yeah, I'm going to join the army and go help, and then they stick me in Washington State, you know, up there in basically in Tacoma there at Lewis McChord, and you know, and I mean,
Well,
that was a tough couple years, you know, just waking up. You know, you're dealing with 40-degree weather and, you know, you're in shorts. Now, mind you, I have thick skin and it's 40 degrees here and I'm still in shorts and short sleeve shirts. So it did give me thicker skin, but
well, you're like me. You have olive oil in your skin, so the water just beads off you like a duck.
that's right. That's
It
right.
just beads off of you like, and actually, I just looked at the weather today. I'm going out there for 9 days. I was expecting like 6 days of rain, and it just changed. And it's like, oh, I think I got 2 days of rain and 7 days
Yeah,
I mean, it's still chilly, but
it's chilly, but this time of year is actually really pretty out there. It's the rain kind of goes away, and you got some blue skies, and you know it's a really pretty town because or neck of the woods, I should say, because of the green and the foliage and all that. You know, it's so different from our Florida green. When you go to that, you know, it's a deep green that's and the trees. You know, they're just just buildings like hundreds and hundreds of foot
oh my
tall, and
God,
it's like the coolest thing you've ever seen. So cool, so
exactly.
cool.
So you did,
So
you were stationed there for 2 years?
I was there for 4. Yeah, I was there well in a deployment. So I did some time there. I had a bomb dog that I trained, a tactical explosion detection dog. I was a language certified guy as well, so I could speak some Pashtun. Don't ask me to speak any of it now, but I did. But it was cool. You know, it was a good time. I made some friends with guys that I would have never met in a million years. And, you know, I've got friends from North Dakota to California to still up in Washington State, you know, all over the world. And, you know, that brotherhood is something that is irreplaceable. And that's really one of the coolest parts of my time that I got from that. So with that, you know, I got out and I started fishing with Ed Thompson on the Blue Heaven. And then that's where I met Chris and the Houdat boys and, you know, and then kept on my travels. And then as it ended up, I met a girl, which, you know, seems to be the death of us all. And, but I met a girl and, you know, we had a good relationship for a while there. And she was like, it's either me or fishing. And I was like, I'm going to try to do both, you know? So I did both for a little bit. And, you know, it was like, okay, it's either me or fishing. And I was like, okay. So, I started Real Tight Fishing Charters back up, in 2017. And you know, we were picking up down at the local park. We never had an issue with the park. You know, my business continued to grow. I went from 1 boat to 2 boats to 3 boats, and from there, you know, I smooth sailing. You know, here we go. You know, I'm started a fleet. I'm living out my dream. This is awesome. I had started another company called Siesta Key Snorkel. where we were able to facilitate to the guests that wanted to go snorkeling and sandbar hopping and all that, and just go drinking and have a good time on the water. We found that Sarasota and Siesta Key has the #1 beach in the nation. So with that comes a lot of tourists that want to come down and see the beach, see the water. And we have an amazing economy here, tourist economy here. I mean, it thrives pretty much from February 1 all the way till school starts. We are jamming, and I can have every boat booked all day long. So I capitalized on that. I'm going to take advantage of a situation. I found that I was a better manager than an operator. It was easy for me to take young captains and some older guys as well and train them and help them become better captains. I learned so much from Ed and from, Chris and from Max and a lot of captains that I met on the road. And it was amazing, to take all of those tools and then kind of apply them to some small boat operations here. And just the cleanliness and everything kind of put us above everyone else, and just having the guys being clean cut and professional and wearing shirts that all match. And, okay, every boat's identical. He's got 3 Pathfinders, so I did everything uniformed so that it was easy for our guests and for our captains to operate. And so a couple years ago, the county decided that they were going to build a bathroom. Now, this is a state-of-the-art deluxe 2-person bathroom. I mean, we're talking fancy rails and cement and not porta potties. So that became their baby. And with that came some changes to the park. The Parks and Rec department saw that they had a lot of charter boat guys that were taking up, parking spaces, or their guests were taking up parking spaces. There was a little bit of clutter down there by the water. There was always action happening.
When you say clutter, when you say clutter, explain to me, is it clutter that's left throughout the day while the boats are out fishing, or just in the morning while you're picking people up, or?
No, so the clutter meaning just there's 5 boats that are all trying to dock on 7 pilings.
Okay.
So that clutter, we're all, everybody runs an 8 to 12 charter. And so everybody picks up at 8. So, we all kind of wait our turn for our guests, and the captains all police themselves accordingly. Everyone's real cordial with each other, just, hey, how you doing? Oh, my guests are right there. I'll get them. Oh, those are mine. Okay. I'll pull off. You pull in. Okay, cool. So everything has been kosher. There's never been an issue. And so that was really nice that everybody was working together. And then again, so the county was like, okay, well, this is a problem. And somehow or another, they got in their heads that they could just start taking money from us. And they were like, well, how do we get this? How do we enforce this? Oh, well, there's a code here that says, companies are not allowed to have, any transfer of money. And the word that they used was remuneration. And remuneration basically means the transfer of money between 2 parties or services rendered. So we figured out the loophole of the money not going between people. We're like, okay, well, they prepaid, or we're going to take payment out in the water. And then so they were like, oh, okay, we see what you did there. Well, it's a services rendered. So our service rendered is just a charter taking place. And so that, again, gives them the reason to enforce their code. So I was one of 2 businesses that received a $500 fine and a notice to appear. The county sheriffs were out there, and they're like, here you go. Here's your ticket. And I was like, how do you know that I ran a charter? And they're like, well, we see people coming on and off your boat. I said, oh, okay. Well, and I just didn't say anything more. I didn't want to, make myself guilty. So I just told my attorney I hired a guy for $1,500 and thrown out in court instantly. But my argument was I could have been put in handcuffs for this, for picking up a charter, for taking people fishing, some tourists on vacation, taking them fishing. Really? You got nothing better to do than that? So, we had our arguments, and we received letters constantly. We didn't get any more fines or anything like that, or I didn't, at least. There was only 2 companies that did, me being one of them. So from there, letters, I don't want to call it harassing, but they were annoying. They're handing us stuff. They're coming down in front of our charters, and, they got their little county outfits on, and they're like, yeah, here you go. Here's your letter. Okay, cool. I mean, and one time I got a little disgruntled, and I ripped it up and handed it back to him in a lot of pieces. So, we're fighting. It's a fight. I mean, I have to stand up for what I believe in on this one. And now the county has issued, well, so let me I'm going into the
Yeah,
timeline.
yeah.
Yeah, so we received our letters. Then we nothing really happened. We got it. We just, we thought they were, okay, whatever. They're just blowing smoke, whatever. It's gonna happen, it's not gonna happen, whatever. Then we had a hurricane come. So we had the hurricanes come, and the county was like, okay, well, we need to do something about this park. The park's been destroyed. What are we going to do in the meantime? We're going to form a task force. So they formed a task force to 5 people. They had 2 that were on the side of the brick and mortar style businesses. Now that's really where the rules get weird, is that most companies are supposed to be brick and mortar. The charter boat fishing guys, we fall under a whole different category. We don't have an office. Our
Yeah.
ocean office, we've always joked about that. This is my office. So we don't really have that brick and mortar style establishment. So for us, we don't really fall under those laws, but there are a few businesses that have brick and mortar style companies. They have Mr. CB's, gonna name call them because that's one of the bigger ones. But the parasail guys, Mr. CB's, a couple of the marinas have captains that are allowed to operate out of there. Now, they only allow so many people to operate out of that marina or out of that bait shop. We are not allowed in. I tried earlier and they're like, you charge too much. We want to take a larger percentage. You guys don't really beat to the same drum that our guys do. Our guys are a little bit small. Let's try to the next marina. Okay, well, this marina, we've got guys that have been grandfathered in here for years. You guys are just running way too many charters and you're blowing the competition out of the water. It's not fair. Okay, fine. We'll go somewhere else then if we're not being fair to everyone else. Mind you, I'm trying to run a business here. Fair really isn't in the cards when you talk about business and you're talking about money. So but I wanted to be that team player. I wanted to, let everybody have a chance. I knew that no matter where I go, I'm going to pick up customers and be fine. So we were back to the bridge and, to the county park, and everything was cool. So the hurricanes or that task force, had come up with an idea that they were going to be able to enforce a medallion style program. Up in New York, you have cab drivers that have a medallion program. Everybody has to have a permit that says I paid X amount of monies to the city or the county, and this allows me to operate and pick up wherever I want to. So the county and all their geniusness decided that they were going to do the same style thing down here. Now, the problem is that we have
time out. Can I time you out just for one second?
Sorry, yeah, I'll just go on.
No. And I want you to keep going. But this is why I want to time out, because I kind of want to highlight something you just said. And listen, I grew up here in Florida. I've been here since I was 3 years old. I don't know anything else. Since COVID, the amount of people that have moved to Florida from other places, and you just said something that I keep hearing it, but this is the first time it's being highlighted. The fact that they're bringing New York ideas. You moved to Florida for a reason. That's because you like Florida, because it's open, because we have nice weather. We're good for businesses. And now you're trying to institute something that you left for a reason, I thought.
That's
I wanted to highlight that because you said it in passing, and I want you to continue, but the fact that you said that, I'm like, wait a second. It's been an ongoing, listen, I grew up here. I've got a bunch of buddies. I'm on a group chain. We've all been friends since we were 6. It's amazing that I have a group of guys. None of them are in the fishing business, but we grew up together. And one of them is becoming quite, not famous, but quite well known on TikTok, because all he says is, "Don't New York my Florida."
Yeah. and it's happening. We're seeing it. It's funny that you mentioned that because ABC7, I did an interview with.
He's going to come back. I promise you. Okay. You're back.
So, am I there?
Yeah. You froze up there for a second. Your picture's still frozen, but every once in a while I can hear a word.
Oh, no. Can you hear me now?
There you go. There you go. You're back.
Okay, somehow I lost you there.
No.
Phone
I want you to say what you're saying, and I don't want to miss anything. I don't want anybody to miss anything.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So, it's funny that you had mentioned that. ABC7 did an interview with me the other day, and we had a full discussion about, what's wrong with the park, what's wrong here, what's wrong there. And I thought that they were going to highlight more, and they didn't. But that was okay because the overall community outcry was, this is wrong. They put their stuff on Facebook, and the community was able to start chiming in on it. And a lot of the people are in favor of us. Back to the brick and mortar style companies, there's only a handful of them. There's probably 4 major parasail companies. There's the Aqua Sport Adventures. That's one that they do tiki boat rides, jet ski stuff. They're a brick and mortar, and Mr. Seabees. So, that's it. Those are the only ones that are complaining about us operating. Now, they're the few, we're the majority. I don't know how their voices were being heard more than ours, other than they're paying money to the county. They have more tax dollars that are going to the county because the county couldn't regulate us. We're kind of like this, this stepchild that's over here just doing their thing, and so we've been kind of the outcasts in the brick and mortar style communities eyes. And so that was their whole argument, is that they wanted us to be regulated a little bit more. And after all this is happening, I was in favor of them. I'm in favor of paying the county. I'm okay with paying an amount to the county. If that's what we got to do, then that's what we got to do. We've been getting away with it for years, and I hate to say it like that, but we've been getting away with it for years. But if that's what we got to do, if we got to pay an amount, I've worked numbers. I've already given them all of these examples and answers to their problem, but they really just want to enforce this 100 permits or medallions for in the entire of Sarasota County. Now, Sarasota County just sounds like, oh, okay, you're just talking about 2 parks. No, we're talking about Sarasota, we're talking about Venice, and then we're talking about Northport. So you've got over 40 miles of interstate even that is of Sarasota. Sarasota County is huge. To only have 100 is you're going to take away 400 to 500 businesses that I can account for. That through Fishing Booker and some of these other host sites, I was sat there, I go through the numbers. I'm like, dang, there's that many companies, there's 400 other companies here that could be affected by this. So that's really our outcry, is that it's not fair for everyone. And I highlighted in my community speech, or my county commissioner speech. I was like, I hate using the word fair. Fair is one of those words that, everybody kind of throws around, and yeah, this isn't fair, but this is one of those times where it's not fair. And that bothers me. And, a lot of the county commissioners and some of the brick and mortar companies are like, but you're a big company. You'll be okay. This is good for you. I don't care that it's good for me. I want it to be good for everybody. I want to fight for everyone.
Explain to me this medallion system, because I don't want to say I'm confused. I understand.
No.
I understand what you're saying. The part I'm confused with is the fact that you're saying they want to give out 100 of these medallions. So with that being said, does that encompass just any boat company that is picking people up, or is that just charter boats? Are they singling out charter boats, fishing boats alone?
No. So this is for the entire community, which is, again, what's even crazier, because you're not just talking about fishing boats. Fishing boats, there's 300 of us in town. Not recreational, but like sandbars, eco tours, party boats, those types of guys. There's another 150, 200 of those guys as well. They, the medallion program works like this: is they have a number, $1,200 is what their lowest bid is going to be, with $5,000 being their highest bid. Sure.
Just explain the medallion system first, and then go into this new bidding system that they're talking about, because that's two separate.
It's kind of the same. So I'll flow with it.
Go ahead. I
got you. So, okay. So the medallion program is, they're going to either do a sticker or a permit or some type of something that is shown that says, I paid my dues and I have a medallion. I'm eligible, or I'm allowed to pick up at one of these county parks that have been designated. Okay. So to achieve or to get that medallion or permit, what have you, is going to go like this. I have, God, it's hard to explain. So it's going to be, it started at $1,200 and as high as $5,000. I'm going to submit a bid to the county, and I'm going to say, okay, Matt, Real Tight Fishing Charters, I have $3,000 for one boat and $3,000 for two boats. They're only allowing 2 medallions per company, mind you, as well. So for me, with 4 boats, I'm already screwed. But again, so back to this. So we're going to say this medallion is going to cost you between $1,200 and $5,000. You just have to bid whatever number you think that you should bid due to the size of your company. It'll just kind of be like, okay, well, so for me, I would say, $3,000 to $4,000 seems like a fair bid. I might not get a medallion because the 99 other guys might come in and say, well, we all put down 5,000. I don't know that. So there's no way of telling, who's going to be able to get this. And if I'm a small company, if I'm Johnny Small Fry, I only have $1,200, man. I don't have $3,000. I don't have $5,000. So Johnny Small Fry, who's legal with the Coast Guard, who's legal with the FWC, who's done everything that they are supposed to do, is now not going to be able to pick up their charters because Sarasota County isn't allowing them a place to do that. That to me is my biggest argument, my biggest problem, is you are shortchanging the small guy. They want the big money. I don't know if I don't know the ploy here. I don't understand why would they want to do this? Why would they want to make us butt heads against each other? I mean, I said it in my other speech, you're creating animosity amongst fishermen. We already, in our industry here, now in the sport fishing world, everybody loves each other for the most part. And, everyone's, hey, man, hey, buddy, I caught him over here. I was in 800. I was in 1200. I caught him, on this color. Okay, cool. Over here on the west coast of Florida, I've got a grouper number. I've got a snapper number. This is my favorite number. There's some headbutting, and with the charter boat guys, you're taking my customer, you took my customer, there's a lot of headbutting there too. So it's been a real challenge to get everybody to come together and understand what our county is doing to us. And the whole reason I'm bringing awareness to this is because our county and our county commissioners have stated that other counties adopt what they do. They were very, very proud to boast how the Port Charlotte and some of the other surrounding counties picked up certain laws and things that they were doing. Oh, we made this change to our Airbnb. Everybody else is following suit. So this is coming to a town near you. And that is why I am really trying to raise the flag here and get everybody on board. And I'm grateful for you for having me on here, because I don't think that everybody realizes that it could be coming to their front door. And, where you thought you were picking up at that boat ramp is owned by the city or the county, and they have every right in the world to make you pay ungodly amounts of money if they want to be able to use that facility. So that's why, we really need to come together as an association, or, for us, I have to create something here in town. What I've done is I got a flotilla. Trump has been saying the word, flotilla and armada. So I was like, what can I do here? I'm going to go ahead and try to create an event that raises some awareness. We're going to get the families out on the bridge and at the park. We're going to do, we're going to have all the boats get together. And I'm not going to say that we're going to block the ICW, but hopefully there's enough boat traffic there to kind of make some noise, because I don't know what else to do at this point.
Have you contacted anybody in the state?
Yeah, I have. I messaged Joe Gruters, who's a friend. I just put a call in to Greg Stubbe, who's our other local state representative, our congressman, for the town. Um, I want to call Jesse Waters on Waters. I don't know. It's like, who do I call? Who else do I get a hold of? Like and that's why I hope that your audience, that someone in your audience, if you're listening and you can offer us some advice or some legal representation, somebody out there, please help us, because this is going to happen statewide. And I just don't want to see, small businesses, and I don't want to see, guys like myself that have been chasing a dream their whole lives be shut down. Fishing is my life. I'm not good at anything else. I'm good at fishing. I'm good at like taking care of people. I love teaching.
You're good at that one language that you can't remember any words. You were good at it at one time.
Yeah. It's a passion for me, and I want to see others succeed, and I want to see others be happy and successful. And to me, when everybody's eating good, that's when I'll be happy. I want to be fair for everyone, and I want the system to be fair for everybody. And that's why I have a problem with only 100 medallions. Come up with a flat rate, charge everybody if you have to, but at least make it accessible for everyone in our community.
It becomes kind of tough when you're limiting whatever the number is, whether it's 5,000 or 500 or five. It becomes it makes people start getting cutthroat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it already is a cutthroat industry,
business is cutthroat enough.
Yeah. Well, I'm already chastised to a degree because I have a fleet of boats. So, for me, I take away from the small guys. So so for me, this is kind of one of those moments of, who are you really? Are you for big business, or are you for everyone? And, as much as I want to see Sarasota grow, and as much as I want to capitalize on all of this, I still have to look out for the little guy, because I've had captains, young guys that have come work for me that have gone on and started their own companies. And for me, that's like a proud dad moment, man. Hey, look at you, man. You're doing your thing. Congrats. Yeah, you probably took a couple customers of mine. I don't care, man. I got more. There's more coming to town. We got the #1 beach in America. I'll get all the new stuff. You can take what I gave you and go for it. And it's not me being like, bragging about it, but that's just the reality of it. I'm helping some of these young guys learn how to run their businesses. They ask me for advice. I remember nobody helped me with that. That's my thing. Nobody helped me learn how to run a business. Nobody helped me, told me the ins and outs of the charter boat world. I had good guys that I picked their brains a little bit. Tim Richardson, is a guy that I just like, God, I would love to like just be inside his charter boat mind of, I got boats here, I got boats there, and oi, and yelling at people. I mean, he's a guy that like I look up to, because that's a guy I want to be. I want to have my sport fishing down in Dominican, and I want to be saying, hey, I'm going there for 6 months to go fish, and then I'm gonna go fish the Great Barrier Reef. Like that's cool as shit, to me. And that is like, that's the dream. That's the goal. I'm still chasing dreams. I'm still chasing goals. My goal was to have a fleet of boats so that I could go do that. And I'm working on it.
You got a fleet already, man. Anything more than 2 is a fleet.
True.
Anything listen, I'm going to start calling you Admiral soon, dude.
I'll take it.
But no, here's the thing for me, and me, I'm really big about promoting our industry. But the other thing I'm really big on is promoting business, especially since I stopped working on boats and started my company. Part of my company is helping, I work with boards of tourism because of the charter itself is such a small part of this giant industrial ecosystem. When you got the charter boat, then you got the hotels, you got the restaurants, you got all this other stuff around it. And especially in the state of Florida, we have the largest recreational fishing economy because of the fact that we got 12 months out of the year. A lot of people don't get 12 months out of the year. We get 12 months out of the year. And to hear that something as simple as this, when man, especially when you talk about a whole county, you can only have 100 boats throughout the whole Listen, how about 100 boats per park? Okay.
Per park.
Uh,
Okay,
yeah,
and that would be okay. I would figure it out, and again, if there was, everyone, and then the next question is, well, aren't there other places? Like, aren't there restaurants? Aren't there marinas? The answer is no.
no.
There's none of the marinas will let us pick up there because there's already competition there. The restaurants don't want you to pick up there because you're taking up parking spots. Now, I'm trying to work a deal with one of the restaurants, but that's only me. I mean, there's still a whole bunch of us out there. So just because I figured something out for me doesn't mean it's figured out for everyone else. And that again is like why I'm fighting.
I got an idea for you. It doesn't mean it's really going to work, but how about buy your own little piece of property and make your own little dock? Just buy, I mean, first of all, land on the water is expensive, but if you put
You're
in a
talking
bulk,
million.
listen, go to one of these really nice neighborhoods, and instead of building a 4,500 square foot house, make it 100 truck parking lot, and just pick up people.
I believe me. So that idea, I mean, so many ideas have been kicked around, and I'm not trying to shut down your idea here.
No,
Believe
no,
me.
no, no, no. Listen, I'm being a fucking wise ass. Don't worry about me, man.
Well, so understand it like this. So, okay, so just imagine again. Remember, I told you the animosity amongst everyone. So now I've got to say, okay, everybody, I need you guys to collectively come together and come up with $2 million for this property. We looked it up on. There was one property that was commercial property. It was like 2.5, and I was like, that's the only bit of commercial property in Sarasota on Siesta Key that's near us. And the whole, I got to get this group together. Fly. I got to get a group together and get them $20 out of these guys. I got to retain an attorney. If I get 100 guys and I can get $20 out of them, I might be able to finally get an attorney to say yes.
Listen, here's the thing. I'm not trying to say you do it, but as we talk about it here online, I just so happened was talking to a marina owner this morning, and him and I, we've been friends for 30 years. And we were shooting the shit about building marinas and different things. And then next thing you know, he's like, you know how I always say I'd never do this? You won't believe what I got going on. And I'm like, oh boy. So, but listen, I know a lot of people like that listen to the podcast,
Yeah.
And you never know when somebody says, yeah, how about this? I'll buy this whatever 4 acre piece. I'll put in 100 parking spots, put in a dock or a seawall, and everybody is $100 a month, or $50 a month to pick up boats.
Anything that I mean, I tell you, if anybody out there on the listening to this podcast today has an idea, I mean, please feel free to reach out to me.
Yeah, I don't necessarily say I know the answer. I'll throw an idea around. Trust me, there's probably 600 reasons why this is not a good idea.
Right.
But somebody out there is listening. It's like, wait a second. I have an idea for that. And that's the only reason why I bring it up. I'm not saying that you run with it. Listen, I get called a lot. There was a friend of mine, we're still friends. He's moved up. Once a month, he used to call me. He was in the insurance business at a hospital. He'd call me up once a month for an hour just so we can throw business ideas. You know what the fuck I know about hospitals? Absolutely fucking nothing, man. I don't know.
Now you know a lot.
Well, now I do. But it was one of the things when you just get two brains together, especially somebody who's not in it. Well, what about this? What about that? How about this thing? How about that thing? Oh, okay. Again, and that's the only reason why I throw it out.
Oh yeah. And I appreciate it. We've had people suggesting, why don't you have a barge or like a flotilla or a taxi system that takes you out to the boat, or just so that you have one guy that pays, or why don't you find other places? There's got to be a piece of property. Or what about your house? I mean, I live right here on the water. I could have them at the house. Again, the commercial insurance, the liabilities, there's been a few issues in a lot of the ideas that we've had. And again, that's why I'm at the point of, okay, we'll play county. If the county wants to play this game, I'll play your game, but make it fair for everyone, and that's where I think the representation has to come from. So we can say, listen, we come up with an alternative solution, but it's got to be this other idea's got to get thrown out.
I got another idea for you.
Let's go.
And listen, again, you can say this sucks. I don't care. I'm just, listen, I'm having a good time coming up. I love fucking ideas.
Yeah.
Buy a barge. Find a construction company that has a barge. Say, hey, man, how about this? You put your you're building seawalls. You put your logo all over the side. And you park it out there, you keep it up, and let us put like a tiki bar where people can go in there and buy hamburgers and hot dogs, maybe a cold beer, maybe not a beer because you need a liquor license. That's a whole nother animal. But now there's just one boat going back and forth. Again, to your idea. Listen, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to everybody else. Anybody got a barge? I know somebody's building a fucking dock somewhere,
Yeah, I mean, it's again, like, so, but someone that then now understand that means someone's paying into the medallion system, and now we got to pay that guy with that barge, and now we got to pay for that captain, and now you're relying on another service, and it's already become just a debacle in itself. And so I'm trying. I mean, again, it's one of the most frustrating things that I've ever had to do with in business thus far. You think that getting business and starting a business and all these things are a problem. No, it's our local government, not the Coast Guard, not the FWC. No, the local government. And that's my problem.
No. I got another idea for you.
Okay.
Listen, I'm telling you, it's like pulling those little tickets when you go to Publix, now serving number 56. You pull a ticket, you get another idea.
I like it.
What? All right. I want you to imagine. You want to close your eyes for a second.
Okay.
Just close your eyes for a second and look at it in lights. Matt Fueyo, County Commissioner.
Ooh.
Oh, you didn't see that one coming, did you?
No, it's actually, that's been brought up as well. There's been, you're a good talker. You speak well in public, and you should go out there and you should advocate for us. And I'm like, I don't know. It's one of those scary roads, man. I feel like, there's still some parts of me that are a little bit of a little bit of a party guy to I don't know.
Listen, here's the thing. There comes a point, and you're a business guy, so you know that you can understand and you can relate to it. Sometimes there's a saying, and I have a friend that's right in the middle of this right now. He just got appointed on the board of directors or something. Sometimes, instead of getting somebody else to do something for you just got to do it for yourself. You got to do it yourself. And I had a friend who's been banging a drum very similar to this. And finally, the big bosses said, you want that bad enough? Here's the position. You do it.
Wow. Yeah, it's that's a leap that I'm stretching for. So I don't know if I'm ready to go ahead and just make that plunge yet, but it's leaning towards that.
Well, here's the thing. I say that again because there's people that are listening. You never know when somebody says, "Hey, man, sounds like a good idea." Business owner. I've been contacted, and they're like, "You're a business guy. This is what our government was based on: business people going, speaking for their community, excuse me, and then going back to business." So, I'm a great. I thought we had that
with the county commissioners. No, and what's crazy is our current board of commissioners are very right leaning, very conservative minded folk. And I mean, the local sheriff that was the sheriff for the last 20 years is on the board, and Mark Smith, who's another guy. I've had margaritas with him at his office, and I really thought that.
No. Don't ever say you were hanging out with some dude drinking margaritas. Bro, come on.
That's when I knew it was. I should have known.
We were sitting there. We had a 2 martini lunch We were drinking Manhattans, fucking a frosty ice cold beer. I
Well,
gotta
I mean, it's,
listen.
it's
The only thing
you
worse is some fucking daiquiris.
I,
Daiquiri.
I should have known. I should have known right then and there that
As soon as you
I was
said that to me, you knew I was going to jump on you.
I didn't think, it wasn't even a spicy margarita, damn it.
Bro, you're
No
done.
tahini, nothing.
You're done. No,
But
no, no. I listen. I get it, and it's not easy. And what people, as easy it is for us to sit here and critique about politicians,
yeah,
uh, there's a lot of other things at play. This could be something that somebody had to give up on because they wanted to pass a new hospital or whatever. I don't know. We don't know.
yeah,
It's a big game of give and take,
right.
and some people just certain things are more important to them.
Mhm.
But one thing for me that I'm giving you props about is this is something you feel wholeheartedly about. There's a couple of things that I feel very wholeheartedly about, and I'm very vocal. I like you said, you've been on the news. I've been on the news. I've been on two documentaries. I've been on CNN because of what I'm passionate about, and I'm
Nice.
passionate about it. I don't care. This is my passion. This is something I believe in, and I'll put my neck out on the line for it.
Yeah.
So the fact that this is something
Yes.
that
Yeah.
you're passionate about and it's part of your community, listen, first of all, it's part of your community where you live, but then you're speaking part of our community when you're talking about the fishing community, and we stick together. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just the way it
100%.
goes, you know?
100%. Yeah, I got to be the voice for everybody in this one because again, it's hard to get everybody together. It's hard to have a collective voice, and and I'm not knocking our industry, but we have some guys that are a little bit thick-skinned and thick-skulled, and the rubble, and
A
you know,
fisherman, thick skin? Come on.
yeah, 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 exactly. So well, that's the whole thing is I don't need the South Park episode of they took our jobs. I don't need that out there, and and a bunch of rubble. We need like a strong voice, and I felt that that's been me. I'm not trying to like pat myself on the back here by any means, but I feel like if there's anybody that's going to do it, it's going to be me. I've kind of already been tasked that through the guys, and I'm okay with that. If I got to take some licks, oh well, I'll do that. If I'm the bad guy here and I'm ostracized for what I've done, then oh well. But I'm gonna fight for what I believe in, and that's for fairness and equality for all. And but it is.
Now you sound like a politician,
Ah.
man. Come on, man.
Hey, I'm warming up. I'm warming up.
Listen, now this is a question, and I kind of know the answer, but I want you to elaborate. Would you say that your background in the military has been beneficial to you on this leadership role?
Oh my gosh. 1,000 times over. For me, young me was party guy, good time guy, kind of just fly by the seat of his pants, didn't know what was going on next. Joined the military, got some, four fingers, knife hand in your life. And you definitely kind of figure out who you are, but you find out who you are as a person, but you find out who you are as a leader as well. When people say, my mentors or my leaders or the people that I look up to are this, sometimes celebrities, sometimes their parents, sometimes whomever that they might use for that person they look up to. I looked up to my leadership in the military. I looked at some of the guys, some of it was bad, but some of them were amazing leaders. And those were the guys that I admired, and the guys that were younger than me at the time, young guys in their 20s that had a platoon of men that they were able to lead courageously. And that to me was probably the best part of the military, was seeing those young guys take on a leadership role. You got a platoon leader that's 26 years old, coming out of college. He's gone to Ranger school, he's gone to this school and that school, and he is ready to lead. 30 recon scouts, into battle. And that was really amazing to see. So that part of it, yes. I took from that. I got some really good grounding from my time in there. It helped me become a better leader, a better manager, helped me understand what it takes to manage and lead. And that's where I've taken my business, is having guys, like I said, I've had young captains, I've had old captains, I've had guys that, every captain that's worked for me, I've had over 40 now. They've got an ego, they've got a life, they've got a wife, they've got, this problem, they got a little bit of a drinking problem, they've got, everybody has something going on. And so being able to be that mentor and that shoulder to cry on for everyone is not easy. There was times where it hurt me and broke me down and caused problems in my relationship. I'm a single guy now because of it, because I brought a lot of that stuff home. And so I've had to learn and mature from that as well. So there's always room to improve, and there's always room to get better. And that to me is one of the also, the good parts of the military, is that no matter how beat down you are and how weak you can be and fragile you might feel, there's always some light at the end of the tunnel. And as long as you can pick yourself up and you know that you can do it, then the sky's the limit. And so that's why I don't think that there's anybody that's going to ever slow me down or tell me no, or tell me I can't run my business, or I can't expand my company, or I can't grow to be something huge. I'm already a pretty big company, but I want to keep growing. I want to keep expanding. I want to be like Two Conks and some of these other guys and the Tim Richardsons. And, I feel like I'm already kind of getting there, but I mean, that's a goal, and I will never let anybody tell me no. So I thank the military for putting some grit on me.
No, that's good. And I see that a lot over the years. Even, I don't want to call out names. There was a little bit of a scheduling issue from somebody, and at the very last bit, it got a little unprofessional. And man, I have no problem with dealing with schedules. We all have craziness. What I'm a very big person on is communication. To me, communication is key.
Biggest thing in
if you communicate with me, I always tell everybody, to me, there's no such thing as bad news. It's just news. I might not hear what I like, but at least it's news. It's better than sitting and waiting, not knowing.
Right.
I hate not knowing. Hey, listen, we're still dealing. I'm calling. Yeah, man, I've got 2,700 other things going on. I'm good. Anyway, so this person, that last little bit, their communication dropped, and that was enough to get me upset. Not super upset, but just, that's the kind of stuff that pisses me off. And once we started talking, it was like, hey man, this was 100% on me. This was this was that. And as we started talking, it's like, listen, there's one thing I've learned is communication was key because of 8 years I did in the service. And I'm like, whoa, go back. So we started talking. I go, first of all, you did service. Thank you. Second of all, the fact that you fessed up to it, I dropped the ball. We all fuck up, man. I'm a 52-year-old fuck up, and it happens all the time. And I'm the first one. Hey man, my bad. So the fact that the communication, the leadership, and that's why I was asking if you feel that this has helped you step up, because the military does an unbelievable job with creating leaders. Even if you've never left more than being a grunt, but they taught you the chain of command. They taught you how to report to one person, and you go through those steps, and there's a lot to be said about that. And again, that's why I asked, and I can see it. I can definitely see it just by the way you're talking. You're like, well, fuck, if nobody else is going to do this, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's the only way I grew up in a big sports family. My dad was he played football at Air Force Academy, and he was in the military. He was a pilot, and I from a very young age, I felt like I was a leader. I was a leader on all my sports teams and everything like that. So I've always kind of had that leadership mentality. And then once you get to the military, that really kind of like fine tunes you, and it really kind of brings out the best of you. And the worst of you too, but it can bring out some really good attributes that you can have, and it's amazing how it does transfer into the civilian world. And you do find that in the civilian world, not everybody is up to speed like you might be in that regard. And so if you can help build others up, again, that's the most beautiful part of our industry is, and you've seen it in the industry is you have a young guy, a young mate that ends up being a captain, that ends up being, on the cover of Marlin magazine or in the Bite or this or that. And you're just like, dude, you were look at yourself, Fly. I mean, you started, you were, working as, I think you said you were a mate, right? On the real site. And
I was Timmy's second on the Rapscallion back in 1998.
Yeah.
I started from the fucking very bottom. I used to change wheels and drop rudders.
Yeah.
Just to make my bills.
So that to me is the coolest part, is that somebody helped you and people brought you up and people brought me up, and and it's you, it's a lot of you. It's 100% you, but sometimes it helps when you have some people that give you that motivational push, and they're like, dude, you're doing all the right things, and you're keep going, keep pushing. And I can be that voice for some of these young guys. And I want to be that guy that I might not have had as much of when I was coming up, because again, I'm trying to do things, not revolutionary things in our industry, but I'm trying to really just fine tune the way that wheel's been rolling, because it's been rolling for years. But it might have a couple little bumps and kinks and nicks in it and everything. So that's where I'm just trying to make it, run smoother and make it run for everyone.
There's and I live by this quote, and I've said it at least 3 or 4 times on this podcast, and I'll say it another 300 or 400 times. There's a verse in the Bible that says it's our responsibility once we get up somewhere to reach behind us and help those behind us. Sure. And people helped me. People reached back and helped me. And it's not that I should do it. It's my responsibility to do it.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
It's my responsibility. And it was one of the reasons I reached out to you. I've been watching it slowly but surely, you saying stuff online. And this morning, just listen, I've had so much shit going on. This morning I was like, oh man, what a relaxing morning. I was in my pajamas, kind of working, drinking coffee, and you had just posted you did something yesterday, or you were on the news or something. And I'm like,
I was on the news,
hey man, you want to talk about this? Really? I got a 10 o'clock, but I'll call you as soon as I'm done. I'm like, bring it on, brother. Bring it on.
It's been so much for me. The other side of me is not only do I run the charter boats. I've got 3 businesses. I've got employees. I've got staff. I've got, a daughter, a 4-year-old daughter, and, mom and dad and a little dog and all that. I also help on a nonprofit charity called Casting for the Kids. And that is a huge, responsibility of mine. I'm on the board of that. We've got a gala coming up actually tomorrow night, Saturday, and it's at the New Moat Marine, and we've got 250 people, and it was just supposed to be 150 people, and we've got $100,000 is our goal. So if there's anybody out there listening that wants to contribute to our Casting for the Kids Foundation, we help families and cancer families that you've got a mom and dad that go to the hospital to be with their child and they're out of work. We help pay their mortgage. We pay their car bill. We give them groceries. We do everything possible within our means that we can do to help those families. And we do a fishing tournament. So I donate charters. I donate my time. And being a small business owner, I'm able to donate time. And that's one of those things that, really is the most valuable thing to those kids. We go up to the hospital, to Johns Hopkins and spend time with those families and spend time. We brought them all Christmas gifts. We bring them meals. We give our time to those kids. I mean, there's kids that don't have families that are up there, mom and dad. There's a little girl that, her mom and dad drop her off at the hospital, and good luck. We don't like hospitals. So, oh
What?
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And you know, until you see a 1, 2, 3, 4-year-old child with a wrapping on their head, a shunt going to their brain, surgery coming fresh out of surgery, that's something that you just aren't really ready for. And that's one of those things that I knew I was helping a foundation, but until I'd gone up to the hospital, I was like, wow, this, I was floored. I was in tears because of what these families have to go through. And for me to be able to go give time and to help raise money and to help this foundation in particular, is huge. I try to help as many foundations as I can. I give away dozens of charters every year. If somebody asked, I'm pretty much like, sure, here you go. What can I do to help? You know,
Yeah.
and that's part of why it's so frustrating for me that somebody, and I feel targeted, even though it's not a target on me. But you know, for someone like me that tries to give so much back to the community and tries to give so much to everybody around him, to be just blasted like this from the county, it's a slap in the face. You know, I'm taking it personal, you know, and I'm fighting for everyone, but it's hitting a personal note too. And you know, and that's why, again, I'm reaching out to all the news stations. You know, I'm doing this flotilla, you know, I'm trying to protest. And I know that word sounds terrible, but I've got to protest. I've got to fight for what I believe in, and raising awareness for what you're fighting for is what a protest ultimately means. And so protest it
I
is.
I know a couple of guys I'm probably going to share the podcast with just so they can hear it. They're all local. I say local guys, local in the state that might be able to help you, or uh, more than likely they're going to probably just want to talk to you. So
Yes.
yeah, I'll definitely do that. And I want to continue talking about this, but I would like for you to talk a little bit for the people that might be listening that aren't familiar with our industry and are not familiar with Sarasota. Would you mind talking a little bit about your fishing side of it? What
Sure.
when people go
So,
and
you
charter
know,
you, because
Sarasota,
I know I've sent you some people, but talk about like what's in Sarasota, what you fish for, so people
yeah,
understand how
yeah,
your charters work.
of course. So Sarasota is a very unique place. Sarasota is on the west coast of Florida. We're about an hour south of Tampa. There's a little spot in Sarasota called Siesta Key. Siesta Key has been voted the #1 beach in America for a few years going now. We've got the whitest sand on earth. Our fishery is made up of, I mean, snook being our bread and butter. You know, snook fishing in Sarasota it's the epitome of it all here, in my opinion. Yeah, we got tarpon, yeah, we got redfish, but snook fishing is really one of the most popular things that people come down for. I've got, you know, when Chris Mallett and you know, Matt Miller and some of the guys up from Pensacola that I fish with, they're all like, dude, I'm coming down there to catch a snook because I've never caught one before. And that to me is like, cool. You know, I've got a snook charm. That's my logo on my shirt. You know, it's like, that's what it's the wrap on my boat is a snook. You know, the snook fishing is really what we do best. And we're live bait guys. You know, there's some artificial guys, Jeff Page, who's one of the, you know, most famous guys in our neck of the woods. He's an artificial guy, you know, that's his company name. But for me, it's all about live bait. And you know, we have a ton of tourists. You know, long gone are the days of people that really know what they're like, real fishermen. You know, you like guys that are like, dude, I've been fishing my whole life, I've caught everything under the sun, and da 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 da. Those, no, it's families. We've got, you know, Bill and Susie and their 3 kids coming out fishing, and oh, grandma's coming too. So we can do up to 6 people on our boats. The reason I built a fleet of boats was because nowadays in these tourist communities, you have a lot of the property management companies are building multifamily homes. So now instead of one family coming down on vacation, you've got the whole family or multiple families coming on vacation. So for us to be able to cater to them, a fleet of boats was necessary because we're just a 6-pack company and only 6 people are allowed on the boats at a time. So again, you know, we provide those charters for all different types of families, different skill levels, different ages. And that's, you know, kind of, again, like snook, redfish, trout, tarpon, flounders, you know, mangrove snapper, lane snappers, mutton snappers, American Reds offshore, we got a great cobia fishery. In the spring and fall, we have an amazing kingfish run that comes right in on the beach. So we're in 30 foot of water, and we got 50-pound kingfish that we're catching on a 24-foot, boat. And that's super cool for us. And there's a 6-foot spinner shark that just ate that. And here's a big bull, and there's a big hammer. And, here's a 50-pound cobia swimming up behind the boat, so our fishery is very, very unique. We don't have the live reefs like the East Coast does. We've got artificial reefs, so it kind of makes it easy for us. We have some hard limestone bottom that holds a ton of grouper. The West Coast of Florida is also known for its grouper fishery. So, a lot of people that do come to visit our area, some prefer inshore, some prefer offshore. As I've learned over the years, majority prefer inshore just because it's calmer. When you're used to lake fishing your whole life and you're like, dude, I don't know about the ocean. Well, the bay is nice and calm. So come on. So, and that's great, and people are like, oh, I've caught a bass before. I'm like, well, you're in for a treat because a little 20-inch snook is going to feel like a 10-pound bass to you. So get ready. And, and then what's cool is we live bait fishing. We chum up an area. We throw 50 baits out there and we're watching for all these explosions on the surface. And I'm like, throw there, circle hooks, super simple, smile, hold your fish up and make a lifetime of memories, and for me, that's where I really enjoyed was watching people fish and watching people learn how to fish. And you've got somebody that might not have ever picked up a fishing pole in their life, and you go from zero to hero in a matter of a few hours, sometimes in a matter of a few casts. You can teach somebody that doesn't have any bad habits how to cast and how to set the hook and how to fish and how to reel a fish in and all the proper techniques. So for me, it's been teaching. And again, that's where teaching my captains to be better captains, teaching my guests to become better fishermen, all kind of, full circles itself. And like I said, now I've got young guys that are starting their own companies and doing their own thing and now teaching others, and they're doing well at it, and that to me is really cool. I've always felt, again, back to the military thing where, you have a young private or you have a young guy that you're trying to teach and how to be a better soldier. That's not easy, and you've got to be good yourself. One of the funniest things in the military that I ever had to go through is I had a young soldier that didn't know how to make his bed, didn't know how to clean his room, and just a mess. The guy was just a mess. And so it bothered me to no end. And as his leadership, I was like, okay, well, this is a problem, and I'm going to go ahead and punish you for your behavior. And I had him grab some rocks, and I had him hold out the 2 rocks out by his side, and he held them here, and he held them there, and held them up. And one of my platoon leader comes out, and he screams at me, "Fueyo, get out here. What are you doing?" And I was like, I'm just, taking care of this soldier that doesn't want to follow. And he goes, okay, listen, if you didn't tell your soldier how to do this, then you failed him as a leader. You have to lead by example. You have to show this soldier how to do these things. I thought I did. Well, no. And if you're going to punish this soldier, then you're going to got to get down on the ground and do push-ups with him or hold out rocks with him or whatever you want to do. So
Wow.
in turn, what I learned was, you've got to lead, and being a better leader is by leading by example and being the face of things. And so for me, I go out and I teach my captains, I teach these guests, I grab the rod, I hold the rod, I show them how to hold their fingers. I can critique somebody and watch their legs and their hands and just kind of go from there and just be like, you're doing this wrong, and then adjust that. Ooh, perfect, up, fish on, and then they're good from there. So that to me is the coolest part, where you take Mary that's never gone fishing, and all of a sudden she's catching 25 30-inch snook all by herself. She's casting under docks, and you're like, you want a job? It's like that's the good feeling for me. And then again, the captain. So
What of your business, how much is repeat customers?
a lot. That was the other need for
Percentage wise. Do you have
percentage.
50%, 60%?
50% on the lower side, lower than average, because again, being a vacation destination, people vacation in different areas. Do they fall in love with Sarasota? Sure, 3-4 years, and then they go. Or what I get a lot of is, oh, I visited 3 years ago and we're coming back. We did other vacations in other places and we realized that Siesta Key was the best, so we're back. So that's kind of where our business comes from. Do we have a ton of locals that use us? Sure. I've got a ton of friends and family, and growing up here in town, I've got a ton of people that constantly are using us. So I always wanted to have boats available, again, having the fleet. So
That's the nice thing about having the fleet. I might have
Yeah.
to actually I might have did somebody I get a lot of people that call me to put fishing groups together, where it's
Yeah.
like 20 guys. I can't remember if I called you once.
You told
Um,
me about one that you called me about it, and I think they chose St. Pete instead. I think it was
something
where.
like that. Yeah, because I get all kinds of stuff. I was even just talking to somebody in the military. They're asking me to do something for the military, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's do it. I'm a sucker.
Oh, I am too.
I'm a
I try to
sucker.
help everyone, man. And I've got some special forces guys here in town that reached out and they're like, "Hey, man, you mind helping us?" And I was like, "Sure," And the vets, SRQ vets. I mean, there's so many groups that I donate to, and I'm it's all for a good cause, man.
Yeah.
I try to. It's what sucks is for me on the business end of it. It's like it does cost me money, and there's times where like right now, we're coming out of a winter where it's like I'm scratching my head sometimes. I'm like, damn, I keep the lights on today, kind of thing, and are we gonna are we gonna be okay, And it's like I'm moving money from accounts, and that's what's sad is that the county. One of the counties, back to that argument, is the county said, you guys make enough money. And when I heard the Parks and Rec department head say, you guys make enough money in regards to you guys are making enough money where you should be able to pay us, I was just like,
Mm,
I mean,
no.
bitch, please.
The biggest
Was that?
mistake, let me not say mistake. The biggest difference between government and private business is the way your budget works in government. If you don't use your whole budget, you're going to get less the next year. So
Right.
you're incentivized to spend all your money. Whereas in business, you are incentivized, hey, times are good. Let's put it away for when we need it. Because you could have an extremely cold winter, you can have a hurricane. Yeah, you can have all kinds of stuff. So you're constantly, do I buy another boat or do I sock an extra blank away?
Yeah.
You
And that's
know?
what I just did. I mean, that's where I'm at. I just acquired another boat because one of the other guys is like, I'm not making any money through this business. It would be better for me to give you a boat and let you run it under your business, and I'll just take a percentage. I'm like, now we're talking. So again, that's just the way business goes, and I'm okay with those types of things. But for me, I was at the point of, do I want to buy another boat? And I chose not to. And I was like, okay, let's just continue to repower the boats, make them a little better, some upgrades. So that's where I'm at right now. I got one of the boats sitting in the yard. I got the other boat, out running right now. So I got 2 out of 4 going. It's just that time of year. Now, what's crazy is like we're nothing this week. Start the day after Valentine's Day. I mean, we're booked. So the light switch is turned back on.
Yeah. Well,
And there's
that's business.
yeah, yeah. And like you said, you just save for those rainy days. You save for that. For us, that's a long rainy day because it pretty much starts from September all the way through Christmas is this is kind of hold on tight, and you better make sure that you saved enough pennies during that season that you're good. And and not to be personal, but I set aside, 20, 30, 40 grand sometimes just to be safe, and that's a chunk, that's a good chunk, and that's like, man, it's tough sitting there looking at the account like, man, I can't really do that vacation, or I can't really do this, or I can't do all the things I want to do because I know that rainy day's coming. And now, not just I have to save for rainy days, but now I might have to save, if I got 4 boats and I'm at $5,000 for this lottery, for the medallion, that's 20 grand I got to pay. So that's on top of,
A
so,
year.
oh, a year. Yeah.
A
A year.
year.
A year. So, again, for people that think that, oh, you guys are just raking in all this money. It's like, for me, I've got captains that work for me. So I'm not the guy that's making the money from the charter. I've got captains to pay, fuel to pay. We catch most of our own bait, but this time of year when I'm buying shrimp, shrimp is expensive right now. I mean, the bait companies are charging $7 a dozen for shrimp. I got multiple boats doing 2-4 trips a day. I'm spending $200 a day in bait from the bait shops. Now I have a bait plug and I get hooked up and I can get 1,000 for a number that I'm not going to discuss on social media.
No.
But
you're buying in bulk. You're buying in bulk.
But I'm buying in bulk.
Yeah, you're
I've got
guaranteeing
bait
that.
pens on the dock. I've got big tanks and everything on the dock here to make it work. But I mean, again, I'm a unique situation. Not everybody has what I have. Not so. Again, could I capitalize on this? Could I beat this? Could I overcome this? Sure, but it's about everybody, not just
me. It's about what's right. And listen, I mean, our whole country was built on small business. You're a small business. You got 4 employees, on top of the fact that, listen, now you're employing the shrimp guy, the tackle shops. I want you to know, just side note, you just fucking dated the shit out of me. I remember when I paid $1.25 a dozen for selects.
Relax. I know. Believe me, even just 3 years ago, before, like, even we were paying $3 a dozen. I mean, why it jumped, and fuel's a little bit cheaper now too. So why it jumped so high, I don't know. I'm not going to argue it, but it
supply and demand, inflation, add to the list. Add to the list. Yeah, but still, I just remember being a kid, buying shrimp with my dad, or my dad buying shrimp. We're gonna go snook fishing. Okay, let's get 2 dozen. Here's $2.50.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
yeah. Well, I mean, those were the days too when a 4-hour charter was $400, or not even 350. The 400 guy was the most expensive. It was 350, 300. And I remember starting back in the early 2000s, and what's cool about me, a little side note about me raising all this awareness for our community, is I've had a lot of the old timers, the guys that when I was starting out 20 years ago, 25 years ago, those guys that I looked up to, that I read the newspaper articles about, and the read them in Florida Sportsman magazine. We didn't have the internet. We actually read things back in the day, and
it wasn't podcast. You had to read that shit.
Podcast, yeah. But I got reached out by some of those guys, and man, that has actually been one of the coolest moments for me. Is like, man, I really looked up to that guy, and he's reaching out to me and telling me good job, and I'm just like, cool. It's very meaningful. It means something to people. And, if it doesn't work,
it's a great feeling, man.
Yeah. But if it doesn't work, I can honestly say that I've tried. That's one of those things, if I could stick my head in the sand, and like I said, I'll probably be okay through all of this, but I'm not okay with that.
You're a soldier. You don't put your head in the sand.
And my faith, it says do what's right, and lead by example, and bring up those with you, and bring them all to the table. I want everybody to eat.
Listen, there's probably a dozen young 18 to 24-year-old kids right now watching what you're doing. And when they're 40, and you call them up about the fight you had with the county, and they're going to be, whatever it is, they're going to be fighting, because there's always going to be something you're fighting. And listen, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the fight, because that's part of it. We all believe in a little of something, and it's a little give and take. Sometimes it's a little thin, sometimes it's a little over, but you got to fight for what you believe in, and this is something that that you believe in, and I love it. I think it's great because it makes your community better. It makes your name better. It makes our community, our fishing community, look better. Hey, we're providing jobs. We're providing revenue. We're providing money for other businesses that support us.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I looked up those numbers, actually the numbers that you were talking about earlier, and the charter boat fishing, or the fishing industry in Florida, raises $12 billion a year and employs 120,000 people annually. That's a lot. I mean, you're talking some major numbers there. I mean, that's a tourist, that's an economist dream come true. You mean to tell me $12 billion comes from fishing and boating and all that? Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, that's parasails, that's snorkeling, that's dive charters. I mean, and again, and when you look at Sarasota's water sports activities and Sarasota as a whole in that regard, we are so far behind the times on everything. You go anywhere else and there's catamarans, and you go to the Keys and you look at how the Keys are and the Fury water sports guys. Those guys are straight killing it. They've got little tiki hubs up everywhere. There's a vendor on every corner passing out information. There's jet skis. There's this, there's that. I mean, it's water sports are what make up the Keys, Siesta Key should have the same thing going on. I'm not just saying it because of the word, but I mean, a lot of people get us confused with down there. And, it's like, okay, well, why don't we step up our water sports games? Let's do a little bit more. We only have like 3 sailboats in town. I mean, it's a joke. I mean, we got 1 dinner boat, and it's like, what are we doing here?
Bro, that's what you need. You need one of them sunset catamarans. I know a guy that used to run 3 sunset cruises a night. I always wondered, how the fuck do you get 3 sunsets? I don't know, but he was a good salesman, man.
No, there's a demand for it. And what's crazy is that there are now those sailboats can only leave and go from Marina Jacks. There's nowhere else again for them to pick up either. So it's just again, the supply and demand is the problem, and then they can charge an arm and a leg for their cost because they're the only gig in town. There's nobody else that can do it because there's nowhere else for these guys to pick up. And, and what sucks is Sarasota's, they want to bring in all these big boats. They want to start having, a lot more, big boats, big boat traffic, big boat money coming in. But our inlets are all 10 foot deep. No one's coming in.
You need to have the capability, not just the tying up, but the inlets to come in. And that's a lot of money to keep that shit up.
Yeah. Well, let's focus though on the small charter boats and not really the bigger issue.
Well,
and that's where I'm just scratching my head. The park looks like shit. There's pipes hanging out of the park. There's park picnic benches that are all just sideways from the hurricane. There's palm trees that are all sitting like this. It's like there's fencing, there's erosion, there's 7 out of 10 pilings there was only 10 pilings there. Now there's only 7 of them there or 8 of them there. But either way, and you go up and shake them and they're all wobbling out of there. There's no policing in our bay. There's no FWC presence. Our county doesn't have enough money for that. But again, we're going to spend money on flyers to let people know that you can't pick up and drop off at the bridge. I mean,
you don't have money, but you can hire a crew to go and give you policing on that. Listen, right there is my issue. You have no money to fix all this other stuff, but
I looked at they had a $4,000 cell phone bill for that annual employee too. $4,000 for a cell phone. I looked at that. I was like, a little bit of fat in there for that guy. It's like, yeah.
What does he call it? 900 numbers?
I don't know, man.
976. What the? Come on, man.
Yeah. It's insane. So it's again, being the guy that was in the government, you see some wasteful spending and you think about it, and then when you really see it broken down on this level, on the basic level, you're like, God, this is what everybody complains about. And I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican guy, and I believe in capitalism. And again, this is where our capitalistic views are being shot down. Our entrepreneurialism is being literally gutted. We're not being able to only have 2 medallions per company. The stupidest shit I've ever heard. I am upset. So
I don't like the bidding process. Listen, if it's $1,200, it's $1,200. Let me buy it. If it's 5,000, it's 5,000.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. If that's the number, that's the number.
I don't like that number. That's stupid.
No.
But
then your 5,000 will get you. If so, the thing is they say there's 400 to 500 boats. Okay, so I broke it down and I did $2,000. At $2,000 times 500 boats, you're at $1 million. So if you had $1 million that you were looking to get out of these charter boat guys, guess what? You got it. And that's only $1,000 every 6 months. If you think about it per charter, that's maybe a charter and a half.
Yeah, but what are you going to do with that $1 million? What are
Well,
you
then
going
I
to
better have
give
the
me?
nicest docks. Yeah, I better have the nicest docks. I better have the nicest cleaning stations. I better have running water at my facilities. I mean, it better be the creme de la creme. And what's stupid about the county is that the county, this is that when you drive onto Siesta Key, right? You've made your whole vacation. You just flew in. You got your whole family with you. Guys, we made it to Siesta Key. We drive over the bridge and you got fencing and erosion. You got fences up that say parks closed, basically. You got erosion and seawalls just coming down. You've got a parking lot that's made of shell and dirt. You got pilings that are just everywhere. I mean, it's like, wouldn't that be a bigger deal than enforcing some freaking rules? Like, let's make this park nice. This is the first thing that people see. And that was part of my argument too, is that we're the ambassadors. We're the first people. You walk up to the dock and you see a bunch of boats that are sitting there cleaning fish, and the guys are all sitting there, hey guys, hey, you got groups of people, pelicans everywhere watching us. You would be like, man, this is important. This is important to our tourism. I don't know. Our county just sees differently. You know, we found out that they didn't spend all their funding that the way they were supposed to on advertising. You know, you see on commercials on TV, visit Colorado, visit Maine, come to Vermont, you know, come visit all these other places, other states. That's their county or their state spending money on come visit them, you know. So our county, nothing. Didn't spend any of that money. So, you know, our economy, a lot of the charter boat guys, they said 70%. I have to argue 70%. We're not down 70% by any means. I'm personally, our company is doing okay. A lot of the other guys seem to be struggling, but you know, it sucks because the overall consensus is that it's slow. It's very slow, you know, that we're just not making enough money. And I'm not going to argue with it because I should be making more, but you know, we're at least busy enough to keep the lights on for another couple weeks. So
What have you considered? I say expanding. How about splitting your charters to like another location?
oh, big time.
Instead of going four in one spot, going two one spot, two in another.
Yeah, I've got a good buddy of mine that runs a jet ski and water sport adventure company out of Lauderdale, and you know, that Lauderdale seems like a good spot to me. You know, the boat that I've got a private boat that I work on down there that went from a 74 to a 92, and that's down there. So you know, it gives me some reason to go down there and monitor it. But I've thought about, you know, going over there to, you know, even to sailfish, you know, over there on the East Coast, you know, somewhere else. I got buddies in Jupiter, but again, the problem is the amount of tourism. I need a Key West style place, and that's another idea. Is like Key West and running out of there, but then you run into the employee problem. It's like, how am I going to find a guy that you know, I'm going to pay you well, but can you stay out of the bar? You know, can you stay out? Can you keep your nose clean long enough to freaking to work for me for, you know, longer than 5 weeks? You know, and that's what I've always heard from everybody down there. You know, unless you're the owner operator, it is hard to find good help down there. But I've been good at that, and I've offered programs to where I help train. And you know, again, that was something that I started. You know, yeah, it's you know, I get these young guys who are like, hey man, I got my ticket. I don't know the area. I'm like, okay, well, here's Google Maps and here's my boats, and you're going to come on the boat with me, and we're about to fish this. And I teach them and I take them and I have them go with my other captains, and I have them learn, and they go, and I pay my captains extra. And I say, dude, I'd rather lose money on this charter and get and train a new captain than anything. So do what you got to do, you know? And so I take that sacrifice. But again, nobody ever did that for me. When you were a walk-on captain or a walk-on mate, or your first couple days on the boat, you didn't get paid. I pay these guys. You know, I try to teach them that it's a family business, and I tried again to do things that for people that nobody did for me. And that's why I've been able to have some good captains work for me. So I do feel that in my style program, I could make it work. But it's not, oh, believe me, I'm looking and asking and putting feelers out there of where can I stick a boat, because too, it's good for me. I want to expand. That helps me expand. You know, if I got my stuff in multiple marinas, then good for me.
Yeah, no. Listen, at that point, when it comes time to expand, now you're expanding in two spots instead of just one.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Well, I
and
talked to Jack from Two Conks and tried to pick his brain a little bit about it and got some inside information on things. And there's definitely some ways around it. And what's cool is for me is I've built the Real Type brand. It was never about me personally. I've never wanted any accolades or any recognition for my companies or anything like that. I've always made it about my captains, about my brand name, and trying to boost up those around me. It's again, I like to be in the shadows of all of this. Unfortunately, this new situation's got me up in the front, but for the most part, I try to just kick back and just run everything, from behind the scenes.
when you announce running for county commission, will you come back on the podcast and announce
Oh
it?
man, I
Come
might have to
on.
make the announcement on here.
Listen, listen, I don't want to put you under too much pressure today. I wanted you to talk about it, but when you do it, let me know. I'll
I will. I will.
I'll give you access to all my followers. Just put it out there. I'll even put out a press release. Announced on the FlyZone Podcast, Matt Fueyo running for county commissioner.
That sounds so scary. Yeah. Hey, but no, but I appreciate you having me on. I hope I got the point across. This.
No, you listen, you got the point across. How's your baby?
She's good. Oh my gosh. I will.
She's got
I
to
will
be big now. How old is she? 5 yet?
She's almost 5. She turns
Okay.
5 in April. I've got the coolest little girl in the world. I'm sure there's all the other guys on here watching. No, my kid's cooler than yours, but I mean, she's a little girl. She's a tiny little thing. I'm not a super tall guy or anything, so she's tiny. And loves the water, loves the bait. I mean, you remember in Jean-Claude and what was it? Oh God, one of the kickboxer movies where he grabs the fish. Lillian has enough skills. Oh, you don't remember that? Or he
I
grabs the
can't
coin.
remember that one.
Okay. Anyway, she jumps in the live well. I come home and I'll have 1,000 baits in the live well, and she will jump in the live well and she will grab them all out. She feeds the snook in the yard. We've got like a petting zoo of snook in the backyard here, kind of like a Robbie's Marina thing going on here. I don't tell anybody where I live because there are a ton of
listen, it's just me and you here. It's just me.
Good. Yeah, just us. So right here, but no, it's the coolest thing to see. Your daughter really take on what your passions are, and when you see honey, do you want to go on the boat? Yes, daddy. I mean, the boats. My captains come back. We bring the boats back to the house here. And when the guys come back, they got a live well full of fish or bait, and we either clean some fish too. And I mean, and she is hands-on. She is not afraid. She knows all of her species. I take her to Moat Marine. We got a brand new Moat Marine here. That's like a state-of-the-art facility, and she knows every square inch of that place already. I mean, she knows every fish. I mean, her first time she grabbed a fish, she grabbed a snook, she lipped the snook properly. And I was like, definitely my child. I didn't have to guess from there on. I was like, I don't need a paternity test. That's mine. I mean, it was the best. And I love being a dad. I didn't realize how much, of course, everybody wants a boy, or you think you want a boy at first. And no, I am 100% a girl dad. I mean, I sing Frozen songs. I am the Little Mermaid. We go in the golf cart.
Whoa, hold on, whoa. Give us a couple notes, man.
Give us
a couple notes here.
Let it go. It's fun, man. Having a little girl. And what's cool is, when I take people fishing, I get kids on the boat. That's a lot of our charters are kids on the boat. And the best part of having a little girl is you got Frozen in the playlist ready to go. I've got Little Mermaid. I got Ariel and just lined up, ready to go. I hit play on Frozen, and the kids look around. They're like, they think they heard it. And then they're like, oh my gosh, it's Belle. It's this, it's that. It's their next, it's Elsa, and it's like, yeah, okay. See, the guys think we're not so weird. We're normal. We're because they get nervous. We get kids on the boat that have never been on a boat besides grandpa, grandma, or aunt and uncles and all that, so they're a little bit nervous, and it's a great way to be able to calm them down and let them know that, hey man, we're humans and we want you guys to have fun, and to break the ice,
No, it's huge. And listen, me personally, I'm a sucker for kids on a boat. And
Yeah.
my godson, his birthday's tomorrow, or it was the other day, but his party's tomorrow. And I can say this because he doesn't listen to the podcast, but I bought him a shark encyclopedia. His dad does not fish at all. His
Wow.
dad and I have been friends since we were 6, and I'm godfather to both the kids. So he's 4, and the baby girl is 1. He started having kids at 50. I go, dude, you're one slip and fall from your wife changing both of your fucking diapers.
Seriously, she that's the one thing too, is that Lillian keeps me young. She's always, she's running around like, we've got a little corgi, and so she's running around with the dog, and she's go go go. And I'm 44, I'll be 45 this year, so I'm getting up there. But they definitely keep you young, and that's the most beautiful thing is getting to see them grow and watching her. I just had her parent teacher conference yesterday, and the teachers are just glowing about her, and I'm just like, man, this is so cool. It's like you see all your time that you put in on helping them learn and read and do all these things, and you just see it, you watch them just blossom into this amazing little flower. And I mean, we're just in the beginning, so I mean, I'm excited, and I hope she wants to carry on the business. And she got a little fake phone, and I call her up, and I ring ring, and
you book a charter with her.
Yeah, and she go, do you have any snook? Oh yeah, we got plenty of those. I mean, how much for the charter? How about 500? Oh, 500? No, how about 7? It's just,
oh my God, that's great.
It's the best. So I'm loving life with that. Single dad now, but that's okay. I don't mind it one bit. That's actually been kind of fun for me.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Hey, listen, I remember when she was born and you guys were at ICAST together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why I was I'm trying to remember.
We're still good. It's not a bad thing. It's
listen, I have this conversation constantly. When young kids, because I get a lot of, because of the amount of time I spend on social media, I get a lot of kids that reach out to me. Oh, I want to be a fisherman. And the first thing I say is, don't do it, man. Don't do it. And my reasoning behind it is it's either you're fishing or me. And listen, I've never been married. I have no children. I'm not upset. I don't have any regrets. I love where I am at life. I absolutely love. I am Uncle Fly to the fucking world. I've got kids as old as mid to late 30s calling me Uncle Fly. I love it. But
I might call you Uncle Fly now.
Call me Uncle Fly, bro.
We might have
to. Listen, I just found out the other day why they called Shannon Shark Unc. Because he looked like the old uncle that show up. I'm the uncle. I'm the Funkle. Everybody wants Uncle Fly, man.
Nice.
And I absolutely adore it. My business partner in Saudi Arabia, his oldest kid's 28 years old. He calls me Uncle Fly. His second son, who's getting married, he's 26. He's an orthopedic surgeon. He calls me Tio Fly. He goes, I want to call you that in Spanish. Okay, whatever. I don't care. And I'm a sucker for all of them. Hey, man, I want to do this. Can you help me with that? Can you introduce me? And for everybody, listen, again, it's that reaching behind and helping somebody up. It's important. I don't care. I'm just glad that, and I've said this, and maybe the podcast is going to help me a little bit on this. One of the things that I feel that I'm missing out on is, now that I'm not working on boats, I don't have the time to hang out on the dock and get to know the new generation.
All right.
There's all these young 19, 20-year-old kids. I see them, but I don't know them. And I want to get to know them because I want to see that progression. I also want to see, hey, Fly, I need help with this. And I can say, hey, man, why don't you quit drinking first and then I'll help you? Or, yeah, man, not a problem. I know somebody.
Right. That was this last year was kind of like my last year. I did only 2 months of traveling, and we didn't fish chub last year on the new boat or nothing like that. And I'm not trying to say I sidelined it, but I've become busy enough with everything else. And I
You don't,
started another company, my bait company that I started. It's kind of hard for me to get away. And my daughter now, you know, when she was younger, it was still okay for me to travel. And then as she's gotten older now, I don't want to miss a weekend. You know, I only have so much time with her. So I don't, you know, do I miss the blue water? Of course I do. Do I want to get back out there? Of course I do. But, you know, family first, business first,
over for the
priorities,
tournament.
you know.
Come fly over for the tournament.
I was thinking about it. I was like, I know a guy, you know, maybe, you know.
Listen, I have a fucking ball. I mean, I really, and the fact that I'm able to get all 3 tournaments in 5 weeks is phenomenal. It's not like I got to keep flying back or, you know,
Right.
I can stay home for those 5 weeks, and then the boat show's right in the middle of it, you know. So for me, it works perfectly. And then right after the last tournament, I go to Costa Rica to fish the OWC. And then from there, I go to Saudi. My business partner's son's getting married. I get to go to my first Saudi Arabian wedding. I'm pretty excited about that.
Cool. Hopefully there's no dust storms. I've been there for a
Bro,
dust. So.
have you been in Saudi? You been in
Yeah,
KSA?
yeah. It was pretty
Okay.
wild. So.
Listen, I love KSA. I absolutely love it. Now, I've never been in a dust storm in KSA, but I have been in one in Egypt.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't there. We did a stop by for about a week there, and then on our way over into Afghanistan. And so, yeah, we stopped there.
Where'd you stop in Riyadh?
Oh, God.
Or there's another, if you go into Afghanistan, there's another base up by Bahrain, right up on the water. It's in Saudi, but it's on the Gulf. It's on the Gulf side.
I don't even remember. You're talking now 15 years ago. So drawing a blank on it, but it was cool. There was a dust storm. There was tents and Air Force base, Air Force hotties, and that was about it. So,
bro, you know what? You just reminded me. You said something earlier. You said your dad graduated from the Air Force Academy.
Mm-hmm.
So oh my God. You're old enough that you're almost my generation. You missed me, but you're close enough. So I want to say this was I can't remember which high school reunion it was, but I don't think it was my 10th, and I don't think I was old enough to be in my 20s. Maybe I was in my 20th. I ended up running into a buddy of mine, and he's like, "Hey, let's go have some beers on Friday." And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm glad because we ended up still staying in touch. Little did I know that no good little fucker, he was trying to set me up with somebody. And cute girl. I mean, whatever she was, 20 something years old, and she went to the Air Force Academy. So, and just so you know, I'm going to tell the story. I'm not making this political. I'm making it that I'm old.
Okay.
So I said, "So you graduated from the Air Force Academy?" She goes, "Oh, yes, sir, I did." I'm like, "Oh, great." I go, "Where'd you end up serving?" She goes, "Oh, no, I didn't serve." I go, "What do you mean you didn't serve? You do 4 years and you're supposed to serve." She goes, "I don't believe in war, so I was able to get out." And whatever your political stance on it, that's not my point. My point was, I go, "Oh, so you were like Muhammad Ali." And she goes, "Who?"
Ooh.
Bro, right there. Oh,
right there. Yeah, right there.
I go, you know,
yeah, that's
Muhammad Ali.
Yeah. You're done. You're out of there.
Cassius Clay.
Yeah.
She goes, I've never heard of him. And I'm like, first of all, he was the one that, you know, I'm not going, I don't want to get drafted because I don't believe in war. And again, I'm not trying to make this political. I'm trying to make this, I was an old enough motherfucker. She didn't know who the fuck Muhammad Ali was.
You know, you talked about the young guys and the young mates and everything, and young captains for that matter. I've had a number of them working for me. I can't tell you how many Jim Carrey lines, how many, Ace Venturas, how many Billy Madisons, how many, the stuff that we grew up watching. I mean, Caddyshack lines, like, I did a no with the cast the other day, and people looking at me all weird. And I was like, "Man, you didn't get that?" They're like, "No," because the bait like skipped in perfect. I was like, "Oh, come on, man!" these guys just they look at, and so it's tough. You said you want to be on the dock talking to those kids. They're doing 6'7"
Yeah, I don't know 6'7".
you
I
know.
don't listen, but I'll listen to it.
I'll
You
listen.
know,
Yeah, it's funny. I find myself, on the docks the last couple of years, last 2 years. There was a couple young guys that were from Sarasota that are making their ways into the sport fishing world, and I was super proud to see him out there. BJ Creedon owns a boat, and his son Trey, and then my buddy Darius is a young guy that worked for me, and he's actually on the Linda Gale down in Tropic Star right now, down in Panama.
okay.
And they're killing it. They just posted a couple of videos. They've had some really good numbers, but it's cool seeing. And the fish tank guys are Sarasota, but there's some Sarasota folks that are getting out there. And so I was hanging out with them and these young guys, and I mean, I just don't drink like that anymore. I have 1, 2 dose, 2, 3, and I'm pretty good to go. And these guys are falling in the water and just hammered, and I'm just like,
we used to do shit like that.
Yeah.
Listen, I haven't had a drink in 18 years.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
I haven't had a drink in 18 years, and I don't listen. I have no problem hanging out with people that are drinking.
Mm-hmm.
What I have a problem with is hanging out with people who are drunk.
Yes. Yeah.
Listen, you're drinking, having some cocktail. I don't care. Once you hit that, and besides, I got so much shit going on.
I don't have time for that.
I don't have time. It hurt.
I need my days. I need my mornings. I felt so bad. I was the guy I work for on the 92 now. He bought the boat, and he bought a 38 Freeman to go with it. And we were down in Lauderdale celebrating, and we went to Ocean Prime, and we did 51 Tito's and soda. And I wasn't drunk, but I felt the next day.
Listen, motherfucker, you were drunk. You just listen.
I was hitting on anything that walked, actually. But yeah,
you were on that river in Egypt. It's called Denial.
Denial. Yeah, I was pretty hammered. Yeah, it was, but it made you realize that was the last time I drank like that, and I was like, God, I don't need any more nights like that. I just, I was hurting so bad, and I love my mornings. I love waking up, and I love starting the day. And a lot of people, just in the fishing world, I think every fisherman, his favorite part of the day is watching that sun crack, man. And just as soon as you see that daybreak, you're like, ooh, it's going to be a day. It's going to be the day,
For me, I like it because it's the one time in the morning I don't have to worry about a bazillion people calling me.
Exactly. Yes.
I can drink my cup of coffee. I go through my messages. I go through my emails. If there's something that's really, really important, I can take care of it, or I can send out my emails to get the day started. And then I'm ready to go.
Yep.
I'm usually ready by 6 o'clock. I'm ready to go by 6. I have plenty of meetings at 6.
You really?
Yeah. Well, remember, I do a lot of stuff from overseas.
Oh, that's right. So that's already
when I'm dealing with either somebody in the Middle East or somebody in Japan. It's easier for me to deal with somebody in Japan at 5 o'clock in the morning than it is when they're texting me at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night.
True.
I don't want to get in. As you can tell when we're talking, when I'm chatting with people, I get excited, man. I'm like a fucking Labrador retriever. My fucking tail wags. I pee all over the ground. I'm fucking excited.
We're passionate about what we love. And I think that's still one of the greatest things of our industry that we get to do is we have that fight, that passion, that love. There's no bankers that are like, I'm so excited to go to work today. I'm sorry.
I can't wait to see the new CD rate.
Yeah. That doesn't exist, and that's no. And that's why, I love what we do. We're the luckiest guys in the world, and girls. There's a lot of
listen, I love it.
I think it's awesome. I'm very supportive. Katie, I can't remember her last name. She's doing the thing. Sawyer. Yeah. She's
great.
Awesome. Yeah, super cool.
She's great. I've been on her podcast. I've asked her a couple times to jump on mine. Not that she said no. It's just our schedule hasn't worked. She's great. I'm a big supporter. In my tournaments, I don't give away trophies, angler trophies, but I give away trophies for top junior and top female.
Right.
And my belief in that is the junior anglers because it's the next generation, but the female is when mom goes fishing, everybody goes fishing.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
Everybody goes. When
Well,
mom's out fishing, everybody's out there.
and that's who books our charters. We're talking back again on that. Dads don't book charters down here anymore. Mom does all the charters. So the mom's doing all the homework. So that's why it's important for us to be clean cut, professional, clean boats, all those things. Mom, it's funny to watch the moms walk down the dock, and you'll see them if they get on the shit boat, on the dirty boat, and they're just like, I should have paid $100 more for that guy, and they're just like, and you see the frustration, and it's like, that's your choice. You guys, you get what you pay for, and that's the other side of the charter boat industry that kind of, that is good and bad. You'll push away some of those cheaper guys, and you'll get rid of some of those guys out of, if by not doing the right thing. So for me, again, I want to cater to the moms, to the hot moms, and everybody that I can.
Because you're a single dad now. Hot moms. I date hot moms. You're hilarious. What was I going to say? Have you considered speaking of fees and permits, what's the licensing fee to put Frozen on your website? Oh, fuck. You froze up on me on that
I know.
one. Son of a bitch.
It's fees and permits. Fees and permits.
Yeah, fees and permits. How much is it to license the song Frozen to put it on your website?
Ooh, that'd be free. My daughter will let me do it for free.
No, I know your daughter will. Disney won't fucking let you.
Oh, Disney wouldn't let me do it. Oh yeah, no. I don't know. No, that's a good idea though.
Listen, $500 a year
just to do it.
Yeah. I don't know, whatever it is. I mean, I had the license.
I got to update my website first off. I haven't updated my website in freaking years, so I got to do that. I don't even need to. It's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of thing.
As long as the numbers are good.
Oh yeah, they're good. I mean, I shouldn't say I haven't updated in years. I just haven't really tinkered with it and changed some of the things, but it's sufficient.
Frozen. I'm telling you, if a mom is sitting there, I wonder if I should go this one. Click and let it froze. Bro, that kid is mama. That's the boat I want.
But you'll see the kids perk up. They're like, oh, what is that website mom's looking at? I want to book with them,
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
There's your hook. Frozen friendly.
Frozen friendly. Ooh, that's good. Now we can use some slogans like that. There's nothing wrong with using a slogan there.
Yeah, but you can't use the cartoon or the music.
No.
They are so picky about that. I remember they sued some little school that had Minnie and Mickey painted on the side of the building.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know. My daughter at least hasn't gotten super engulfed in the whole Disney thing yet. She just has a few characters that she's cool with. So, not to get political, but obviously, I'm not a Disney dad wearing my Minnie hat or anything like that. I'll take you to SeaWorld, honey, or every aquarium possible, but
that's a whole nother thing because and again, as a parent, you do what you want. I don't care. But I have a lot of friends that have kids, and they're like, man, I got a little girl or I got a little boy. That's not what I want to talk to them about right now. At 6 years old, that's not what I want to talk to them about right now. And listen, you're the parent. You can, if the parent says, hey, this is what I want to show them, then listen, you're the parent. I'm not gonna. But if it was my kid, I make my own decisions. Yeah. Under my house is my rule.
And what sucks now, but you can't even have an opinion anymore. That's the worst part, and again, I'm trying to stay off the subject, but just even having your own opinion nowadays is tough. And I bring this up because of the word protest, and I asked my mom and dad about it. I was like, what do you guys think about a protest? And they're like, I don't like it. I was like, you didn't even hear the idea, and they're like, it's a protest. I don't like it, and I'm like, again, understand the definition of the word protest before we sit there and say
I like the flotilla.
Yeah, that's it, And like I said, I'm not gonna sit there and say that I'm going to block the roads or block the ICW. But if there happen to be a lot of boats in the way,
Amen.
Just
come on, don't. I don't want to see you on CNN.
You do actually. You
Actually,
do.
no, that's not true. Well, I want to see you on CNN. I just don't want to see you on CNN like that. Uh,
Yes, yes,
you
in a
know,
positive. Yeah,
I want
no,
to see you in a positive way.
yeah. Well, hopefully
I,
you watch Fox News. Just kidding.
I don't listen. I get everything
I'm
either.
kidding.
I,
I'm
I
kidding.
I get everything podcast or X. I'm a huge X fanatic. I I like
I
to
lean
get it.
to the right.
When a congressperson talks, right or left, I want to get it straight from their mouth.
True.
I don't want to
Yeah.
go in through. I don't want to go in through a lens of somebody else. I
Yeah. No,
really,
that's a good. That's a
I
great
want
way
to
to
get it
view it.
right from them. And then if I don't like what you're saying, I don't like what you're saying. But I don't want to get it where where a news station, Fox, CNN, I don't care. I don't want to get it where you can chop it to deliver it to me. If that's the case, I'll go to Burger King and McDonald's. I want to actually, I don't even want to go to Publix and get my ground beef. I want to shoot my own shit
No.
and have the guy grind it up, and then I make my own hamburger patties. And if I don't like it, then it's a me problem. But if I
Right.
like it, I know where it came from. I mean, I don't know how else to make it as simple. It's whatever you have your beliefs. Listen, I have family members that have their beliefs, and I still love them. I love them to death. We just don't talk about it. That's all. I
Yeah.
just don't want to talk about it. And even here, I'm okay. We were talking about our beliefs and whatever, but I'm not opposed to if somebody uh, has a certain way to believe and they want to do a certain thing, go do it.
Right.
Come on. Listen, for
Again,
me,
and
if you're a fisherman, that's good enough for me. You put a rod in the water, I'm golden.
yeah, no, that's how I see it, and that's where it's this whole thing too. There's guys, I know there's guys in our industry that don't have the same political, and I don't care.
Yeah.
Again, we're all after the same goal. I don't care what your beliefs are. I care that be right, wrong, or indifferent. This is what we're fighting for, is our livelihood, and that's the best collective argument that we can have.
That
And that at least is where I feel like where we didn't have togetherness, this is at least something that can bring everyone together. And I'm rooting for the best on this one. I've had an amazing response so far. I mean, unbelievable response for this flotilla. There's been at least over 40 confirmations of people that will go, and this has only been up for about 24 hours now.
When is it? When is it?
So it's next Wednesday. It's at North Patterson Park, which is the park that's in jeopardy here, or the topic of conversation. 1:00, 1 to 3. I've got Bay News 9. I've got an ABC or NBC Channel 8 out of Tampa. I'm trying to get Fox to come down. I'm trying to just keep getting the word out there to everybody possible. I need the news. If I can get the news and I can get some people lining the bridge and holding up signs or something. I just need it to be made aware, because right now there are captains in our industry that have no idea this is going on. There's captains in my town that have no idea this is even happening. And it's kind of mind-blowing that they don't understand it's happening. But at the same time, like, they need to be made aware. And this is one of those things that if everybody talks about it, this is the only time that I've had this much collective talking. I've never had, everybody's been an individual the whole time, and now we're finally coming together on something. And
Is it on your social media pages?
So this will be my chance.
Is it on your social media pages?
It is. Yes.
Okay. I'll crawl through there and I'll share it across mine so people can see it. Yeah, shoot it to me. Tag me in it. I'll make sure people at least know about it.
Sure.
This podcast, I don't think is going to make it out in time for the flotilla, but it'll be in time for the fight. So people are aware of it.
Yeah, anything that we can do is good at this point. Is going to help and benefit us. I mean, like I said, it's a fight. It's a fight to the death, or a fight to I go to jail, or whenever. But
don't go to. You got a daughter. Don't go to jail and don't die. So if somebody wants to send in a political contribution to your campaign, where should they send it to?
To be honest with you, we have not. We haven't formulated anything like that yet. I haven't.
I'm not. If they want to get a hold of you and they want to,
if you want to get a hold of me, you can reach me at. I can put up my email. We can send it to you.
What's your social media? What's your social? Even your business social media and website.
real tight, realtightfishingcharters.com. Easiest way to get a hold of us.
Google him.
Real tight. And then I'm on all over social media on Facebook and Instagram, Real Tight Fishing Charters. It's got a logo of our cool guy in the back here. So
I can't see you. All I saw was your ass, bro.
That's cute though. You know, at least I got a good butt. I work out. So that's the first I'm sure on your podcast. So that's good.
Shit, listen, my biggest thing, it's funny because the biggest thing I hit every time is this is not made for children. It's not made for children. It's 18 and over. I'm not doing it. I don't run any ads on it. Not saying I never will, but I don't run any ads on it. I'm doing it so I can just talk to my friends, man. Really.
Yeah, it's actually, I feel like we're just like catching up. I really, it's funny. It's a podcast,
listen,
but
bro, I have caught up with some of my friends. And one of the things I want to talk to you about is the project I've been working on. I've been behind this fucking computer for 18 months. The 2 hours a day that I get to talk to my buddies is my therapy, man. I'm fucking loving it.
That's
and
awesome.
then all the motherfuckers that'll call me up, hey man, I love listening to you on the way to work. I love it.
Awesome. Cool.
That's what I like. I get to catch up with my friends, and it's hard for me to schedule time. Oh, I'll get to him later. Fuck that. Let's do it right now. Let's have a conversation. There's a lot of people that are not in our industry that want to hear about it. I want people to know it's not all just going out fishing. There's there's political stuff involved.
Yeah.
There's headaches.
For and conservation and clean captains for clean water. And, there's so many different parts of our industry that I don't think, and people, a lot of, I know that some of the guys in town here, and I'm sure even some of my employees are like, what are you doing all day? Like, man, I'm doing a lot, I'm shaking hands and kissing babies a lot of the time and making sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing on top of, just all the foundations, all this, advocacy for this and advocacy for that. And, there's a lot to do besides just going fishing. And for me, again, when those owner operators, those guys can't make the county commissioner meetings, I'm the guy that has to go there and stand up and be that voice for everyone. So, yeah.
I give you a salute.
Thank
you. Hang tight, everybody. First of all, thank you, Matt, for joining us.
Thank you.
Everybody, thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. I can't thank you enough. And I look forward to catching up with everybody on the next one. And I will catch you later.